Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Plastic Man, DC Finest, The Origin of Plastic Man. This is by Jack Cole, 580 pages, just come out from DC, and here's the back. And it includes a number of comics, Police Comics 1 to 36, as well as Plastic Man 1 and 2. And that was from Quality Comics. I was going to say Quality Street. No, Quality Comics. And you see it's 1941, 42, 43 and 44. And of course, you've got a few examples here of the covers of Plastic Man and also Police Comics. Now, I've got a Plastic Man comic here, and you can see we've got a long way to go. This is Plastic Man 1 to 2. That's all that's included. Here is Plastic Man number 51. So there's a lot of Plastic Man still to come if they continue all the way through and release them. Now, they did bring out, of course, a DC archive. That was pretty good, up to volume 8, which included a fair amount of material, but not everything. So let's hope this time they get through all the way with Plastic Man. This one is really good. Quality, I love Quality Comics, really good. I wanted to just show you also the size. So you can just see it's slightly smaller. Just slightly smaller. And if you look inside, you can see obviously the artwork there. And also if I look and show you some of the artwork there, you can see there. Now you can of course find copies of obviously Plastic Man, etc. online. Lots of copies of those around. But obviously you can also get the original comics as well. And I just love these ones. Look at the quality of the artwork. I think it's absolutely superb. However, that's one of the slight criticisms of this, because of course DC have done a good old clean-up of these. In many ways, I wish they wouldn't do it with some of these sort of comics, because I think it just looks a little bit worse. One, the pages are slightly smaller, and the line work is a bit rough in places. Now, I haven't got, unfortunately, any of the archives to compare it to see if it's better or worse. I thought they were slightly better than this, so maybe but that might be just my memory of them. Inside, you can see the table of contents. You can see Origin of Plastic Man. That was in 1941. Police Comics issue 1. Now, of course, there were other stories included in that as well. It wasn't just Plastic Man. But also, of course, you had Plastic Man came out with his own comic, and that included just Plastic Man. And, of course, Uzi as well. And, of course, you get the covers as well, which is really nice. So you can see there straight away, introducing the Firebrand. So Plastic Man wasn't even the cover for this. Firebrand was introducing Firebrand, a smashing new character. Now, unfortunately, we haven't got books from DC Finest of Firebrand, and you can see you've got a lot more issues there. So you can see Plastic Man issue 1. You can see he's got 4 stories there. So they're all Plastic Man associated stories. Now, let's just show you the artwork, and you can see there. Now, Plastic Man originally was a villain. He ends up turning into Plastic Man because of a very chemical thing. And also the thing about Plastic Man was the fact that I always found him infinitely more inventive than Reed Richards. The Elongated Man was a little bit more inventive, but I never felt, for all the brilliance that Reed Richards had, he never really used his powers, particularly in the way that sometimes in Plastic Man, he would just use it to change his identity, all kinds of weird and wonderful things. And I just thought the stories were absolutely great. But like I said, the artwork, this one's okay. The first issue, I think, is quite clear. You can see there he's become a rubber band, as he says there, a weapon against crime. That's quite helpful that he didn't suddenly think, you know what, I'm going to be a villain in this case. But no, he became obviously a hero and saved the world and crime and everything else over and over again. And they were just fun stories all the way through it. I just loved them. And obviously, of their time, some of the storylines you probably can look at and think, maybe not. They wouldn't get away with some of the storylines now, but I think they're absolutely fine. But just visually, the artwork was just great. Come on, Plastic Man, what a man! It says, and then of course you've got Plastic Man, and they're just doing various things that you probably wouldn't see in modern comics in any shape or form. But again, the artwork, I say, is just crude in place, and I would prefer if they'd gone for these ones using the original comics, and obviously getting the best quality comics like the Taschen books that have just been out with obviously Fantastic Four and X-Men. I would love to see that sort of thing for this. I would have thought it made it a lot easier to bring them out as well, instead of spending a lot of time cleaning up, restoring. And unfortunately, the line work just doesn't always work for me. You might look at it and go, you know what, that's perfectly reasonable. The colouring looks great. Certain it's an individual choice, obviously, on this, but I think in this case, I would have preferred it in the original style. But still, the India Rubber Man, he said he can change his face, he can stretch his body, and he would do it in all kinds of weird and wonderful shapes. And of course, gave a lot of great covers there. You can see that starring Plastic Man, new, different. It says, and also that's a Human Bomb 711. I don't know what his powers were. The Mousepiece, unusual name for a character, and also you can see there he's got. I love it. It's just all the way through, very, very inventive, and lots of little very odd panel structures there. Sometimes they would have that sort of thing where you have a circular design. Don't often see that sort of, and this sort of Limburger. Sorry, I would say Limeburger. And then you've got another cover there, Police Comics. And of course, often they would have them like wrapped around the title of Police Comics, all those sort of things. And I think it's great, 10 cents. December, that was number 14. Plastic Man, sensational, exciting, different. You can see them blowing away, obviously being pulled around by some characters there. I don't know, it must be sort of wherever that is, desert looks like there, maybe not. And you've got just a whole mix of different stories. He was always getting hypnotised, loads of different stories. The villains were always sometimes just the weirdest of villains. Don't think there was any sort of characters that turned up on a regular basis. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I haven't particularly noticed any characters sort of, a nemesis, an arch nemesis that he would sort of battle each and every week. Maybe they could have had another sort of Plastic Man-like character that he battles, but I don't think they ever thought like that back then. Well, nor did they introduce, of course, a sort of team of quality comic sort of characters. It would have been nice when they sort of have a sort of like the Avengers or obviously the All-Winner Squad, Justice League of, Justice Society of America kind of approach. And also you had Woozy Winks. Of course, they always had to have these support characters. And I always liked it. Now, that's one thing I suppose I should make. I'm not certain if all the stories are included. I assume they are. I haven't gone through it and say, oh, you know what, that one's missing, this one's missing. I thought that there was a lot of Woozy Wink stories that were individual stories that were listed along the top saying Woozy Winks. And that was in the archives. Maybe that's just my memory of that. But it does appear in lots and lots of these stories. And again, not sometimes where Plastic Man hardly seems to feature. So it's possible they've included all those as well. You can see again, Woozy Winks all appearing. And his ones were just as oddball, weird sort of adventures, always facing some very strange characters that would get him into trouble. He'd always fall in love with various women who all generally turned out to be up to no good. And they would wrap him around his little, their fingers sort of thing. And look at some of the covers, inside a splash. I mean, that is just pretty gruesome, isn't it? I mean, would they do a cover like that nowadays? That is just Willie McGoon, apparently, the most astounding case in the career of Plastic Man. And then we're on to some other stories here. Ghosts. I don't think that's a ghost, but still. Skeleton, maybe. And again, Woozy in here. And there's just page after page. There's some good stories. There's some stories that are just average stories, but generally, I love them. They are of their time, 1940s, whole weird world. And like I said, brilliant artwork all the way through. And again, there's also Plastic Man going. And there's distorting mirrors, of course. Plastic Man is just about poor old. He's always in those situations, virtually all the time. But of course, that was great for creating the story. But let's say some pretty obviously evil villains there. Let's say not any real particularly recurring characters. And this guy, he turned up, obviously, the police commissioner. And I assume that's the police commissioner, police something, head of department or something. And of course, look at that. I think that's just a great idea. Something I've never seen, let's say, Reed Richards ever do, sort of turn himself into sort of, so he could dig into something. Maybe he couldn't do that. Maybe, obviously, he got the thing, I suppose. What would be the point? And he's all whizzing along and using his powers sort of spring along to, near enough like flying. Again, something that some of the modern characters never think about using. But like I say, you've got all these sort of female characters that always often end up causing problems for Woozy and, of course, Plastic Man as well. And again, some more. Oh, that hoop one there, rolled into a hoop and not bad man for a loop. They love that sort of poetry in the thing. And I think these are great. Absolutely great stories. But as mentioned, some ways, when you look at this sort of one, and I'm just critiquing, again, you've got the artwork there. I think if you reduce it down and you turn it, do a bit of clean up. I mean, yes, obviously this is slightly brown. You could do a bit, but it's going to maybe change the line work. But it's just a pity, really. I think that these are so beautiful artwork when you see these ones, and then sometimes just slightly you look at it and think, but I haven't got early issues of Plastic Man comic or Police comics. I can't tell. Maybe this was the artwork, similar style. I don't know. And maybe the line work is as good as it's going to be. But it's just a pity, I think, because I think there's some definitely. I'm just going to show example there. You can just see the line seems to be breaking apart there. Maybe purposely. I don't know. But it just seems to be breaking at times. And it's just a bit odd. Also, I noticed sometimes in the word balloons as well, whatever, you've got some interesting ones as well. I love that when people do a whisper in some of these comics. I don't know if they do that now, but I've never seen that, where you've got obviously the people talking and then they whisper and the writing is sort of broken up. I just thought it was really quite nice to see that sort of, so to clearly make it obvious that it was a whisper. I think characters whisper anymore. And of course, there you got yowl, help, etc., etc. Whole mix of different stories. And Plastic Man, really glad they finally got this out. I hope they bring out a volume 2, volume 3, etc. Now, I don't know how many issues it's going to take, because the Police comics, that went on for quite a while. That's obviously going to be quite a few issues, I'm certain, to cover that. But the Plastic Man one, they were quite, talking about 50 odd pages, I expect here. Must be 52 pages. So you're going to have a lot of these volumes, and they got to not that far through with the archives. So this hopefully will be a series of books, and hopefully they will be bringing out more of the quality comics ones as well. That would be nice. Now, obviously, some of them probably Firebrand. We are probably never going to see the Firebrand DC Finest. Very unlikely. But it would be nice. Some of the other quality comics ones definitely would be nice to see. And there's the details on the back. Now, I paid, I think it's about £26. Now, it was weirdly quite high price when I was looking at it. It was about £36. I thought, that's expensive compared with what I've been seeing for DC Finest. But it suddenly dropped down, so I just waited a bit, didn't order it straight away, which I normally do order it straight away. But I thought, I'm not going to at that price. Just let it drift down a bit, and it did. So it was down to about 26 when I picked it up. Now, I didn't buy it on Amazon. I bought it on eBay. I can't remember which one I ordered it from, but it was still a decent price, I think, 26, because I think these are really nice quality books. And it's $39.99 in the US. Obviously, price is going to be reduced. I'm certain going to be picked up pretty easily, I imagine, there. But still, an absolutely brilliant. And like I say, they've got this lovely format, which they continue on, 1941, 1944. Let's hope they go through it. And also, of course, get into the Plastic Man later on. I think it was 67, 50s. I don't know when they brought out other issues of Plastic Man. I think Quality Comics, they stopped. And then, of course, DC bought them 1967. I'm certain it's something like 67, 68. Please put in the comments below if you remember the date when they came out. And, of course, since then, he's been all over the place. So, great character, great to see, and hopefully many more from DC Comics. Be great. Please put in the comments below if you're going to get this book. Be really nice to know if maybe I'm the only one buying it. I don't know. It's always, because Golden Age ones, not for everyone. I have to accept that. But I love the fact they are bringing out, hopefully, at least 2 or 3 a year. Will mean about 6,000 years of waiting to get all of them, but still, we can wait. Like or dislike, always appreciated. Also, please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel. Always great to have that. And also, bye.